One of the questions I get to be asked is, are R of O lands valid in Abuja? I've had that question a couple of times, and in this video, the goal is to answer the question as much as possible. First of all, when you see an R of O land in Abuja, I'm going to explain what R of O means, but just follow me for a moment. When you see an R of O land in Abuja, should you buy or should you run, right? And I'm going to start by explaining what R of O is, and then I'll take other questions that I have been asked around R of O. So the first thing is, what is an R of O? You hear R of O, R of O. What exactly is R of O? So an R of O is basically right of occupancy. So it is a document, and I have a copy here, which I'm going to explain to you, that the federal government or the government gives you when you acquire or are allocated a piece of land here in Abuja. So the second question I get to be asked is R of O a valid title to buy property in Abuja? It's important to note that every title document, before you go ahead and put your money, should be verified, right? Verify whether it's R of O, C of O, anything at all, it should verify it. So now to the question, is it a valid title document to buy property with? Yes, it is. It is a valid title document to actually buy property with in Abuja. So there are two types of R of O in Abuja. There's the Area Council R of O and there's the FCDA R of O. So what you like to say, a federal government R of O, right? I personally always recommend the FCDA R of O. This is an R of O issued by the FCDA, Federal Capital Development Authority, recognizing land administration within Abuja. Okay, so I would say yes, it is valid, but a step further, look out for FCDA R of O. The next question is, how is it obtained? So how is it obtained? So it's obtained through a process, and I'm not to bore you with the process one after the other. I'll just say, after the government gives allocation, after the federal government gives allocation, the statutory R of O bills are paid. Then, of course, other bills like the rent fees that is written on the document, it's usually written on the document, right? And then, of course, there's offer and acceptance. You accept, show evidence of payment. You go and pay all the bills, and then an R of O is issued by the FCDA, the Federal Capital Development Authority, right? Next is, what should buyers check? What should buyers check, right? To check on the document to be sure that it is authentic. I'm going to first say that usually I always recommend that you engage the services of a property lawyer, right? If you are doing land acquisition. But just so you know, for the sake of information, a few things you should look out for. What should you look out for on the title document? I'm going to just look at this and start from number 1 to maybe like 8 on what you should look out for. The first thing is the name on it. So after you see the FCDA, that's Federal Capital Territory Authority, Department of Land Administration, that's the department that issues the R of O, right? And then next thing you see the name. The first thing there is the name. So the name there should conform with whoever is selling to you. Or there should be a link, at least, maybe a document tying the person selling to you with the first allotee, because this thing is allocated to the first allotee usually. It can be changed, subject to change. Some people go to change it. So after they buy the land, they go to change the name to their name. It works, it happens, especially if it's an R of O. So the name, look out for the name and ensure that it conforms to the person selling to you, or the person selling to you has a document showing that this name sold to him before he's selling to you. Make sense? The next thing to look out for is the file number. There's file number. So sometimes you see new file number, old file number, whichever it is, look out for it and make sure you verify that. The third is the date. The date is important because the R of O has a lease term of 99 years. Okay, that's what it typically has, 99 years. So if you look at the date it was issued and subtract 99 years, you now know the residue number of years. Make sense? That's why the date is important. Next is location. So on the R of O, the location of where the land is stated. Because I've seen situations where people sell to you R of O is of another place. Meanwhile, the title document is another place. They're showing you land in Wuye, for instance. Meanwhile, the land is in Dakibu or in somewhere else, all right? So it's important that you look at the location. It's usually written on the R of O. And of course, the cadastral zone is written there as well. Next is the size. So you see the size of the land, the piece of land you're buying is written on the R of O, number of hectares or acres. So the next thing to look out for is the purpose of the land. There is mixed use, there's commercial, there's residential. All those are the purpose of the land, right? It's important to look out for that too. This particular R of O I have right here, the purpose is mixed use, comprehensive development, mixed use. So in this type of land, you have to have almost everything on the land. There has to be green area, there has to be small plots, big plots. That's what mixed use comprehensive means. Of course, the next is the lease term, usually 99 years. Like I said, the date it was issued with this 99 years, you can now know the residue number of years, how many years is left, right? So another thing you look out for is the T&C, that's the terms and condition. And of course, there's a section 2 to 6, right, are the T&Cs of terms and condition, of the C of O. I'll just mention a few. First is that within 2 years from the dates of issuance and the date of building approval, because that one too should be put into consideration, you're expected to start developing the land. That's one. Number two, you're expected you cannot erect buildings or structures that goes against the land use. So for instance, this is mixed use, so it's a comprehensive development. You can't now say, oh, you want to now build green area or a park or a garden on the particular, so don't go against it. Those are like the two major, pay all the bills. Those are the major T&Cs. Other ones are, they are there, but they are like pay fees, pay this, pay that, and all of that. So T&Cs written usually on the R of O document. And the last thing we will look out for is the signature and the person that gave it. Usually is the current director of land administration that signs on behalf of the FCT minister. Sometimes the FCT minister signs, but usually FCT minister signs on the C of O. Usually, he may assign the director of land administration to sign on the R of O, but usually signs on the C of O himself. Okay, so those are the basic things you look out for. But then again, like I said earlier, engage the services of a lawyer is very important, because a property lawyer, they may see some things that you probably did not see. Sometimes too, because Abuja is so good, the land administration here is super good, super profitable. Sometimes people, fake these things as well. So it's important you verify before you buy. And in closing, R of O is a valid title document in Abuja, especially when you're buying an FCDA R of O. Please don't let them deceive you by telling you that it is an FCDA approved land. They're not showing you R of O, they're showing you building approval. Yes, building approval is good, but it's not a title document. It just shows that you've been approved to build what you're building on the land, right? So look out for an FCDA R of O. It's important because, it saves you a lot of hassle or stress later in your journey. Finally, yes, it is okay to buy an R of O land, but ensure that you're not buying just because it's R of O. You're buying because it's verified. You have verified it. That's important. All right, so I hope you found value with this. I'm Jeff Anozie. We help you secure safe and profitable real estate in the city of Abuja. We're looking for FCDA R of O, general FCDA verified properties in Abuja. You want to call the numbers today and we'll help you do that. Enjoy a great day.